All right, this is October 3rd, 2017, and we are interviewing Tom Battles. Can you state your date of place of birth?
Let's see, my full name is Thomas Henry Battles, born in Evanston, Illinois, August 26, 1960. I am 57. I've been in Texas since 1975 when we moved here when I was in high school from Illinois to Arlington, Texas when I was 15, a sophomore in high school in Arlington, Texas at Lamar High School, but got into the stage band because I played guitar. They were looking for a guitarist. I can't believe I auditioned, and I did, and I got in there, and that really kind of helped me find my way. 3 years of stage band practice every day, last period of school for high school. That was pretty cool.
So that's where you got your start?
Well, I had already been taking lessons when up in Illinois for a few years when I was 12, going on 13, and then met some other guys, and we actually had a band up there in Kewanee, Illinois, I tell you, where we lived for a few years. And we played one gig in the library basement in Kewanee, played 6 songs, and then we played them again, and it was pretty neat. Hauled an organ downstairs. All these little 14, 15-year-olds hauling a Hammond organ down steps. It's pretty insane. But we did it, and we got it back home too. I don't know. So that was my start. That was my start. Then high school led me to learn more about music until I went to college to study art, and then suddenly punk rock came along. And at first I was sort of dismissive of that, but then when I saw it live, I thought, okay, I see potential here. For the, being able to write music and just be all about dancing. Dancing was huge. That was a big part of it.
So you saw, what year did you start getting into punk music?
I suppose, I guess it was 79. I went down to Austin, had long hair, went into Raoul's and saw some bands there, and that's when it kind of, the light was like, oh, okay, here's something we can do. Here's what we should do.
Yeah,
It's more like seeing it. But, a lot of guys played who could not play guitar, their instruments barely, and I played with guys that couldn't play barely. And really I wasn't that good, but I had kind of knew what I wanted to try to figure out, and started there in college, actually, with the first band was the Jetsons in Denton, and actually one of our early one of the guys that ended up being in the band was Mark Griffin, who's MC 900 Foot Jesus. He was in the Jetsons with me and a couple other guys. One guy actually, this guy I went to high school with, and one guy was my roommate. If I have,
I like your box.
I've had this forever. This is like one of my archive boxes. This is the Howling Dervish archive box, but it's only if you want to see it.
No, I do.
There may be some old Observer clippings in there
I'll check.
that you can at least see, oh, this is what the Observer was like.
I keep thinking it's September.
Shit, I keep thinking it's August.
I wish it was. I'm just taking notes as we walk through this. So the Jetsons in Denton.
Yes.
Is it 3-piece, 4-piece?
Now it's 4-piece. Me, drummer, keyboards, bass. We had an old friend of mine, Gigi, was our first keyboard player, and Mark took her place.
You said this was in
About 79, 80 period.
Nice.
We did play at the Hot Club. We played in Denton a little, but we did do one gig at the Hot Club as the Jetsons.
The what club?
The Hot Club.
Like
Oh, honey.
called?
Hot Club, like Hot K-L-U-B. That's like the most famous, well, that was the most well-known new music club in Dallas. Everybody played, they got pretty big bands in a relatively small club, like Gang of Four and X and Nick Cave and all kinds of stuff went through there.
So it's a place to go.
It's on, yeah, and the building is still there off Maple, kind of across the, is that Hondo or whatever that is, right across from that Jack in the Box that's been there forever. Just sort of behind Oishi, in a way.
I don't know that area very well.
Yeah, there's a building, I can look it up on the map, but that's where, it's still there. But that was, you wanted to get a gig there. If you got a gig there, you were, well, you were part of the scene, because actually it wasn't that hard to get a gig. If you had your shit together, he'd let you open up for somebody. You needed local opening bands. They actually paid you, and when you showed up around there to see somebody else playing on your own time, they gave you free draft beer.
So you would did you ever get to play with anyone already? Like,
well, I played with Bad Brains, opened for them, and I want to say Scream. Not there. I mean, it was later on. I did play with, well, that was in the Jetsons. That was like my next band, but that was a couple of bands we opened for. I did open for Del Fuegos at the Theater Gallery with the Dervishes, but I, just saw a lot of famous bands, didn't necessarily play with them.
so what was your band name with the Bad Brains show?
Okay, that was the Howling Dervishes. Not just Howling Dervishes. And that started up probably around 81.
That show must have sucked.
Bad Brains?
I'm just kidding.
It was crazy.
I saw them
It was really insane.
like in 2011 and it was still good. But they played the entire self-titled album all the way through the Granada.
Huh. Now they did a lot of dub, but in punk rock,
Yeah.
And back then we were too busy like, hey, we just got our set done. Did you see us play? Somebody get me.
Yeah, how old were you when you played with Bad Brains?
Probably around 23 or 22. I don't remember everything.
Yeah, no, just a rough.
Yeah. Very early 20s.
That would have been pretty cool. Any strange interactions with Bad Brains, like the singer at HR?
Oh no, we kind of wrapped with them in the parking lot a little bit. They were into their own trip, but they were nice. I didn't know what this, I didn't.
I watched a documentary on them recently, and
Yeah.
they said that the singer was kind of loosey-goosey sometimes.
As I recall, they sort of gave us the time of day and then went on with their business. They were cool. Some bands like that are always cool with the opening bands, and some are just, actually the bigger they are, the nicer they are usually.
Did you have a favorite club? The
Hot Club was pretty fun. The Nairobi Room off Harry Hines was pretty cool. That was a real obscure little hole in the wall that had some new wave happening for a couple of years.
How do you spell that?
Nairobi, Nairobi. It was in a motel off Harry Hines, right behind the Trade Center area.
Nice.
I think it is long gone. And it had a lounge, And back then, a lot of places with lounges and shit would just have bands. It was a lot easier.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you didn't have to worry. You didn't worry so much about codes and getting a CO and getting
The fire marshal?
fire marshal shit, and just they started to get more interested in that stuff later, and mostly the cops just wanted to come through to make sure there was no drugs or looking to bust people into some of the other places we would play.
Were people pretty into drugs, or was it kind of moderate? Somebody does it, somebody
I didn't
doesn't?
say big drugs, I mean, I'm sure they were, but
Did you ever play at like adult lounges?
no.
Any
tit bars?
or
No, that
strange
would've been
theaters?
great. No, nothing too weird. I mean, I only once played for a bikini contest with Tex in the
You guys were
90s.
played in bikinis?
No, we did not play in
Oh,
bikinis.
so they were
but it was a bikini
gals in
contest
bikinis.
at Fair Park for a hot rod show.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
But that was in the 90s. God, there are pictures of that too when I played with Tex. The Swinging Cornflake Killers. I jump around because that's, anyway. No, I never did. I said, you're going to be really bored with this because it's just kind of a musician who just was looking to play. I really just like playing. And I would say, I was not a good singer, but it's like, no one else, I'll just do it, whatever, let's go. Wow, and have fun. And we really had fun. Met lots of girls. It was before AIDS, It was, it was different, It was more, things were as loose as they are now, as slutty as everybody is now. They were pretty fucking slutty back then. I mean, just people. You didn't have to worry so much about
Dong bags.
just that disease. It was because I've known a lot of friends who died of AIDS, but back before 85 or 84, it wasn't even a problem. Didn't even know about it, especially if you were straight. So it's, I don't know. And then also there was a period when you were 18 was the drinking age, so it was a lot crazier. All the bars were filled with much younger people. And by the mid-ish 80s, they changed that, and that changed things, but then I was getting a little older too, so. A lot of things changed the music scene in Dallas. That drinking age was the first thing, but 9/11 was like the next big thing to really just flatten it, and it never really came back from that, I say. Now Nirvana also killed it because they just did away with dancing. Once that shit became famous, people stopped going to see alternative bands and dance because all through the 80s, man, it was all about just dancing. People at the hot club would just dance. It didn't matter, guys, girls, just go up there and dance. And it was just incredibly fun. And then when all that grungy, sad, angry shit came along, people just started looking at their shoes. Am I right? Am I wrong? You weren't here. That was sort of what I saw. So, boy, you probably want an exciting story.
I don't have any expectations.
Okay. Any more questions?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Well, I came across you.
From the Dallas video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know Randy Murphy?
Yes.
He posted it on my Filth forum. Probably a year and a half ago.
Right. Every now and again it comes around.
And I was having such a shitty day, and I thought it was so funny, and I loved it.
Cool.
I just wanted to talk about it.
All right.
You had said when I first met you, you kind of gave me a little rundown on the story, and I was just like, man, if I could get that on film, that'd be so fucking cool. So you worked
Here's
with a
the
couple
deal.
people.
There was, when I had a job, my first framing job at a place on Industrial Boulevard, there was a woman there that had a tape, a cassette of this Dallas lounge singer who probably sang in Reunion Lounge or whatever.
Nameless, or do you?
If you look it up, you can find it. I don't fucking remember his name, but he's hassled us a bit in the past. But
He did come at you guys?
he hassled the guy that made Steve Turks, who shot the video. I think he hassled him about something about it.
You guys doing it better?
No. Well, I don't know. I can't remember what the deal was, but we took... This cassette had like the vocals, the whole song, this really schmaltzy song about Dallas. It's got to be out there. The flip side had an instrumental on it. So back then, of this version of the song. So back then, it was early 80s. 82,
Right, like
83, it's got to be 84, probably about 84. Yeah, I was living on Henderson with Mark Griffin, actually. He had just come back from LA with the Telephones after they flamed out in LA or had a tough time, but they came back to Dallas. And I said, dude, listen to this. And we're just laughing our asses off. So what we did, he had enough gear to, somehow she let me bring that home, and then we had this instrumental track. So we recorded it with me singing over it. It's kind of Bill Murray, Saturday Night Live character. This, Nick, whatever his last name was. So we did one take, and I laughed, started just cracking up halfway through. I just couldn't keep it together. And we did one more take, and I kept it together, and that's it. That's all we did. It was no, let's punch. We could fix that. No, that was it. Just did one run through. And I didn't have any technique or just I had no idea how to breathe. I did the best I could. And it sounds like it. Anyway, so Steve Dirks somehow got a hold of this because he was in the telephones and he was friends with all of us. Anyway, so he wanted to shoot a video. So it was his idea to shoot a video about Dallas. And that was around the time when shit was going bad. It was about 85 maybe, when the economy
That's what it says in the credits. It says
Oh
85.
yeah, okay. Then, see, your memory's better than me. Yeah, but that was when there was a bit of a recession happening there in the mid '80s, and yeah. So we just ran around town one day and shot that shit, and he put it together. And
It's several locations.
Several locations.
Were you tired afterwards? It looked like a hell.
I was a lot younger then, but yeah, I was probably a little tired, but I didn't have to do much.
You know what time of the year it was? Like, was it hot?
It was warm. It wasn't hot. It was warm.
Because you were wearing like a 3-piece suit.
Like a tux jacket and just, yeah. It was probably, it wasn't, it could have been spring, it could have been fall. Probably spring. I mean, you have to see when they tore down Tango. Tango was still there. I don't remember when they tore that down.
What's that?
Well, in one of the scenes in that video, it's on Lower Green. It was on Lower Greenville, across from down near Crown and Hart area. Across from next to that fast food Mexican joint that's been there forever. That space next to it was a bank, and then in the early '80s, Shannon Wynn, I think, bought it and turned it into Tango, which was a badass. It was kind of glammy nightclub, kind of douchey, but still had really cool acts there. I mean, and the Howling Dervishes played there once. But anyway, that was in the background of one of the scenes. And then at some point in the '80s, they tore that place down. But that place was cool, man.
And is that what's now was that sushi place that's across the street from Crown and Hart, near the Taco Cabana?
Yeah, it's right. It was right next to it was just the next space north of Taco Cabana, between Taco Cabana and whatever that side street is there. That's where
Lewis.
It was. I guess it's Lewis, yeah. And it's on the same side as Taco Cabana, but right fucking next to it. And I don't know what's there now. I don't go down there enough to remember. But it was in the background, those big frogs, and then those frogs ended up going to Carl's Corner for a long time. And now they are somewhere else, or at least one or two of them is around. Some of those are Bob Wade sculptures, giant dancing frogs. They look like...
There's dancing frogs on top of that Taco Cabana right now.
Well, then that's why they're there. There you go.
Fuck yeah. Well, see, this is why I do these interviews.
Yes, that's where they came from.
Well,
you're right. That's where they ended up.
Is that coming to mind? Those dancing frogs on top of the Taco Cabana?
Vaguely. The last time I was down there, really, I never spent time there. I played a gig a few years ago at the Crown and Harp, and
Crazy they shut that down finally.
I know, man. But see, that's the thing. There's another local music venue that is gone, where local bands could play without a lot of hassle, and that's why the Trade Winds is getting so busy, because that's like a room where stupid little fucking bands can play. You have 4 bands a night, and then you're just playing to all the other bands. But yeah, and that's the other thing, annoying thing. Every little show around here is like 4 bands. There's no way. Never fucking do that. But bands,
Is it different now, or did you used to be able to make money, or did you do it?
I always made some money. We always got paid, especially in the '90s when I was playing with Tex. I mean, I was never in a band that made $1,000. It's like we're $1,000 or else we don't play kind of thing. We always had, every once in a while we would get paid something nice for an event, but no matter what crappy place we played at, they always gave the band some money and food and maybe some, and beer or something. But they always gave us money. And nowadays, when I was playing with some younger guy with the Slow Moving Snakes a couple of years ago, it was like, really? They're not paying us? What do you... There's so many gigs we had to... It was just the norm. Or just go through all this shit that, like, really? They're selling beer here. I mean, they can give us $30 or give me $10, give me $30, I don't care, but, and that's just the norm. So, that's
It's like
different.
it should be just an honor to be able to play.
I guess. Music has been devalued. Back then it had more value to people, and now it's competing with too much, and it's just too much for people to understand, and they listen to crappy new shit that just fucking sucks. I mean, I don't mean to bag on KXT, but if you listen to that for a while, you hear enough of that whoa, whoa, whoa shit, and it's just, what's happening with kids? I think they like sounds. They're not really into songs or words or really melodies. They just like, and I had a kid tell me that once. It's like, I like sounds. I like to hear unusual sounds and like that electronica festival stuff where a DJ is like, you know, pressing buttons and blowing shit up, and it's just about, you know.
They're just waiting for that.
It's not
break.
really music, I guess. Yeah, the break.
They're almost like impressionist or something.
Right, whatever. I mean, that's okay, you know, but I don't, it doesn't impress me.
No, impressions
Right.
of music.
Right, they're pretending that it's about music or anything, but that's okay. I had so much fun. I'm not bitter at all. I mean, I'm too old to really be in this market anyway, so I'm trying to find the right kind of scene for an older guy who can play. And Dallas is not, you know, doesn't really dig that, where if you go to some mountain town in Colorado or, you know, or even Oklahoma, you see a good old boy playing music, or older cats. Austin, shit, what are we saying here? They still, now I don't know if anyone's making any money, but there's still older bands, or just, it's like, just traditional music, you know. There used to be old jazz guys playing in Dallas all the time.
My friend used to play weekly at the Muddy Waters, and I'd go sit in and I'd be able to sing a blues song with the guys, and that was cool. But of course, you know, that came to a screeching halt.
There's another place, yeah. I mean, I don't know the story, but it doesn't sound good.
A shit ton of cocaine and getting busted.
Right.
I don't know.
That's often the case. And a place that's well run doesn't want to take any chances, and you know, they just go with kind of a safe route, or they don't have music, or they just, because a lot of people don't care, you know. And Deep Ellum is making a comeback. There's lots of clubs. We'll see how it goes, or see if, you know, if it's worth a damn.
I'm kind of pessimistic about Deep Ellum and Greenville Avenue. I don't really go there too often.
No. I mean, it'd be great if Oak Cliff had something, but you get too many neighbors around that bitch about the volume, so you can't, all these North Oak Cliff joints can't do anything. So the future might be 80, you know, you start at Tradewinds and then head into Grand Prairie, and there's all those dive lounges all along the way into Arlington, into Fort Worth.
Have you been to the Neon Cowboy?
No, I heard of it. It's in
45-ish? Yeah, I think you take 45 to get there.
it's south of town?
Hmm?
Oh.
Neon Cowboy, and you have to be a member. You have to know someone.
Oh, private club.
But I
yeah.
went there with a friend of mine, and so I have the
They let
Neon
you in.
Cowboy membership card. I really don't think it's that impossible to get.
Right.
But it's one of those Wild West places where it could be cool one moment or like murder the next. Kind of neat.
Yeah. Now
But they have a huge dance floor.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Spacious.
Like,
Lots
like
of
the
good
Debonair.
lights.
Is that Debonair Danceland still around?
No idea.
I was on 30, just out east. Kind of just. Oh, it's on the north side of 30, heading east, out of just past Fair Park, or just around the Fair Park area. Debonair Danceland. That was a big old ballroom.
Dance now. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a dancer. I'm more of a singer, but I'm not exclusive. I guess if you want, I'll give it anything a shot.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking of. Now we did also, when I was playing with Tex, there's one really crummy place on Harry Hines called the Whistle Stop. Actually, it was on Denton Drive, overlooking beautiful Denton Drive. But man, that was the crummiest bar in town for quite a while. Just crummy. There was trees growing into it, you know, like vines just taking it over, and the girls' room door didn't really work very well, and so none of the girls would pee there, but we got people to go there.
They would pee there?
They wouldn't. I'm not.
Oh, they
kidding.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant they would just use the restroom.
They wouldn't use the bathroom,
everywhere.
no, or else use the men's room or something. But that was a pretty crazy fucking place, man.
Oh, and when you said overlooking the beautiful Denton Drive, are you being facetious?
That's what their motto was,
Oh.
or that's what we used to say. I think. God, I can't remember who came up with that quote. That's how we referred to it. Overlooking beautiful Denton Drive. No, it was, yeah, and it was up there, not quite the Northwest Highway. It of
And
course
is
too.
that building gone?
The building's got to be gone, but there was a kind of like a school-looking building just south of it. Golly, man, I'd have to go up there and look around and say, oh, okay, there's where it was.
That's about where I'll be working. So I think
Right. And it was, yeah, that's just another weird place. And we played at Naomi's all the time too, of course, in Deep Ellum. But that was the 90s. That was alt country time. That was when I gave up on rock and roll and said, man, I'm going country. And Tex, who sang with the Nerve Breakers, he was our lead singer.
Right.
And so I did that. That was a big chunk of
And
time too.
They were the ones who opened for Sex Pistols, right?
Yes.
Did you have any experience at the Longhorn? Like, did you ever play there
I
or
never-
party there?
Saw the Chili Peppers there
That's random.
when it was like one of their first appearances in
Like
Dallas.
Mother's Milk album?
Way before that. It was like they maybe had one or two out. They were pretty underground for a while. They were considered somewhat like an avant-garde punk band that did this crazy funk. It's all mixed up. I think Lyle's helped them get them in there or something. He had them at Theater Gallery, but they were the darlings of I don't know, and they sucked. They were terrible, and I just hated it.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yeah, I don't
I
like
fainted at one of their shows.
really.
Heat exhaustion.
You gotta be careful.
Starplex.
It's the worst place.
It was Snoop Dogg and the Chili Peppers.
Damn.
Well, actually, it was during Snoop Dogg's performance. So when I woke up, all I could see was diamonds. I was just like, what the fuck?
Really?
Yeah, and everyone thought I was on drugs, but it really was just
Yeah, heat. Yeah. If you don't drink, if you're a little dehydrated and there's just not enough air and too much heat.
too many people. I don't really like going to shows anymore like I used to because of the people thing. But I really loved the Bronco Bowl.
Oh God. Yes. Saw the Clash there. Saw U2 there. Saw REM there a few times. Replacements. Terrence Trent D'Arby. Squeeze. I think of one. That was that place. Besides the venue, the rest of it was fucking great, man. Had indoor archery and batting cages and bowling. Fucking bowling, all these lanes and
it sucks because I never utilized any of that other than just going to the shows aspect.
we used to have some birthday parties there.
Birthdays.
In the late bowling for birthdays is what it was called. That was a series of parties that happened for a few years. A friend of mine ramrodded that for him, and somebody else had the same birthday or something.
I would love to have gone back to the Bronco Bowl right when they first built it.
Oh my God, yeah. Are you kidding? How sleek and posh that must have been. I wonder if they let black people in.
It was the 50s, right? I think 56. I'd have to look it up. It's been a while since I've seen
Could
those
be.
dates. But I'm sure if that was the case, then no.
I know. Yeah.
Maybe they had a Negro Achievement Day.
Negro Bowling Day. Black lanes. Blackout lane blackout Wednesdays.
They don't get any pens though. There's always some catch.
Yeah, we don't return the balls. Yeah, you're done. I guess that's it. You missed. Oh well. Hope you got another ball. Shit. It's true though. Dallas is just the worst. Were you born in Dallas?
I was technically born in Carrollton, but I have no affiliation with that city, and I don't even know how to spell the word.
I think there's 2 R's and 2 L's.
It's really confusing. I'm a smart person, but that word just fucks me up every time.
Yep.
I was raised in Rowlett, but there's nothing to do in Rowlett except for getting raped by the Aryan cops. So most of the time I would, well, as soon as I got a car, I would always spend most of my time in
Cops
Dallas.
raped you?
Well, I actually was sexually assaulted by one of them once, but that's fine. He went to jail in front of his entire family.
Yeah, a lot of women have that experience with. My wife was raped. She put out a question on her Facebook page last year, just asking that question. You know, who has, among you? And it was just turned into this big thing. And I thought, honey, you could write a book like this. I mean, this could be another movement. She was already doing the introvert thing, but she's just, no, there's no way. I can't listen to that much shit. I can't listen to that much heartache and terror.
I mean,
No
if
way.
I had a book that I would probably title it "The Wrong Bitch to Fuck With." Good.
There you go. But it's unfortunately too common for women. As you know, I mean, what am I telling you? Here I am mansplaining.
But I mean, I meant it metaphorically when I said it.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. That's a small town, and you got to really hide from the cops and be careful.
They're so bored. Here, living in Dallas, you can do whatever you want.
There's no cops anymore.
Like, you can have a carcass dangling out of your passenger window, and they don't fucking care.
There's no cops anymore. I never see radars anymore. You know.
Well, they're all by Fair Park right now.
And now I'm starting to think, that fair is kind of bullshit. I've been several times. I never went, and then Sophie wanted, the Jew from New York. She was like, oh, we're going to the fair. So did that for years, but it is too expensive. And they can't, the cops don't have time for that shit. And poor people can't go to it. It's insane.
Well, I think they do offer some price breaks, like most museums will, for
but not
economically.
Not for the food or the drink and the rides.
Yeah.
You can get in for free if you finagle it, but once you're in, if you have kids and you're just a working guy, man, that's a lot of money. Their kids will suck you dry. I just saw something about on Central Track. They've been bitching about the fair lately.
Yeah, and Philip Kingston's got a huge heart-on about it.
Good. I'm glad people are talking about shit, man.
I've been talking about it for years. I just don't like it when people try to explain it as if all of us are fucking dumb, and then they try to steer us in a certain direction.
Well,
I mean, he got his Robert E. Lee thing. Can he just chill? But that's just my fucking opinion. I'm not all about the fair, but I'm about the grounds.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure.
And
it's tough to know what to do about it all, man. It has to monetize, and it can't.
it's just he's pissing all over everything that's sacred
What does
to
he
me.
do? What is he on about?
Well, first off, it was him that really started "Let's take Robert E. Lee statue down."
Yes,
and
yeah. That's
now he's backing up the Central Track thing that you're talking about,
okay.
and he's promoting it, and all the council members are just falling right in line, and I don't like that. I don't like people dictating to me what's morally acceptable or what especially when it's been going on since 1881.
Yeah, the timing is a little
Stupid, because
annoying.
we've got a lot of shit going on in the world, in my opinion, that we don't really need to be worrying about this fucking bullshit.
You're right. And if they can't afford it this year,
and it's sad that
that's life,
half of most people didn't even know what Juanita Craft and the NAACP and Negro Achievement Day and things that were happening in the 50s, and they're just like, oh, thanks Philip Kingston for awakening us to the shit. I was like, God, you guys are fucking lemmings.
they are.
Who cares?
Texans are a funny bunch, kids. They just are, man. A lot of them. I mean, you're not like them, but they're self-conscious, and they're I don't know. They don't like to get out of their comfort zone, and when you get them out of their comfort zone, they just no. That's not our heritage. We don't do that.
I've been kicked out of a lot of barbecues because I'm one of those book learners.
Sometimes it's best to not engage people, because why waste your time, man? Let them. I mean, yeah. That's the way I am now. I used to be more vocal, but now
More
it's just,
acerbic.
Or at least, yeah. And yes, definitely more of a wise guy and more negative, but it's like I just accept it and try to maintain my own river, and just be my own. But boy, it's been a tough year. It's been a crazy fucking year.
Feel like sort of a division between you and your fellow Texans, and you feel like an outsider because you're not really from here. But you spent a lot of your time.
I spent a lot of my time here, but if you're not from here and you don't, yeah, I guess any place has its clique, but there's something about being Texan, and if you're not, it's hard to feel like part of the gang in a way. I mean, you get along with people, but you can't say some things to them. You can't say you can't say everything to everybody around here. They're very self-conscious, and sometimes they don't really tell you how that affected them, or you might really offend the hell out of them, and you don't know. And then you're out. You're just shunned. You're blocked. Which, whatever. I mean, that sounds sort of gamey, but that's the way it felt like for quite a while. I'm also have moved around a bit. I lived in Chicago, and then a little town, and I've been to like two grammar schools, 2 junior highs, 2 high schools, 2 colleges. So I'm used to being the new guy and just sort of finding my own quiet way and making whatever I can happen. And maybe not depending on having lots of friends or a clique. I know a lot of fucking people, but very few, I'd consider a friend, or I don't want to just fucking kill. Just put them out of their misery, because I've known you forever, you need to die. You're just gotta go.
I call it inner cabinet members.
Oh, sure. And everybody I've been in a band with, I'm a friend with. I'm a brother, but, plus, as you get older, hanging out with people becomes less important. It really does. You just want to kind of get into your own groove and spend your own time doing what you want to do and thinking your own thoughts and doing your own thing. And people aren't necessarily enhancing that experience,
And sometimes they judge you because you're not part of their little experience. You're not part of their community.
But but people my age understand that. I mean, like there was Steve had a pretty good opening the other night, and we just bailed. I was just
At Mighty Fine Arts.
Yeah. Sharon Bagley has a nice show that just opened, and that's a cool scene. Once a month or so, some shit goes on there. You want another beer?
Yeah. I mean, sorry, they're not
There
ideal.
better be one I can drink in there.
They're...
Put it on pause, will you?
Yeah.
Jesus. Hey, it's almost good. Jesus Christ, in the middle of the night, go. There's a little girl in Midlothian. Watch out, there's a piece of glass right behind you. It's just sitting on the table. Just don't. Because then you'd have a really rough day falling into a bathroom floor and slicing your wrist in the
There
frame
are
shop.
other things I could add to that list, but I'll just save those.
Amen.
How is this building?
I'm guessing it's got to be 30s at least. It's pretty cool though, the way it's 2 storefronts. That door was original that joins it. I just took the next door, the space, that wall we just walked through. There's a really cool, I don't know if you noticed that. Come here, go real quick. So this was closed off when I rented. I mean,
No.
the tin ceiling, I mean, those things were all over the place at a certain
I
point.
think that building was turn of the century. Is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just guessing. I don't really I don't know.
Well, maybe even earlier. The railroads came in 1870, and that Perry and Expo area has always looked like that.
That area's coming up, kind of.
That's a weird area.
It's always been a weird area. But that was a big party scene too in the 80s and the new music era. Exposition, you had it was the 500 Cafe or Expo Lounge, or that's, the same place.
Is that what 500X is playing off of? The name of that art gallery?
Um,
On Expo?
yeah, they were playing off 500X. 500X, I think, was first, and then there was the 500 Cafe was played off of that. And then there was the Expo Cafe, or they changed the name, but it was that same building think an artist has been living there for a few years now, Kip, but it's got the courtyard and that used to have yeah, that was another great live music venue that went away because they built apartments behind there and then all those people started bitching about the noise. Which, okay, you know.
What do you think about the grapefruit? It's pretty intense.
It's very grapefruity. Look, it's very athletic. It's like for sports guys.
I know. Seems a bit
Now
incongruent.
I do ride a bike, but I don't ride that kind of bike. But
What kind of bike do you ride?
it's a mountain bike. I
Oh.
ride every morning. That's my routine. I get up early as the sun rises, and I ride for like an hour every day.
I rode my bike through a parade in the rain the other day. It was
Oh,
the
for
day
the-
after I got fired. I just
Yeah,
like
for the state fair parade.
yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I rode
okay.
my bike along with the LSU marching band.
Cool.
It was I've always wanted to ride or like kind of like have a marching band follow me as I walk through downtown, and so I made it happen. And I had this like highlighter jacket, so all the cops thought I was just like part of the thing or whatever. But
Highlighter, you mean like fluorescent?
well, it was like a highlighter yellow because
Okay.
it's just my bicycling jacket that's really thin.
Yeah,
'Cause
real
it was
bright.
yeah. It was raining too.
Right,
so it
right.
kind of like helped a
See,
little.
when you're a girl, you can get away with all kinds of shit. Get into a parade and just.
Oh, I'm so glad that I'm not a guy because I would probably be
It
in
would
prison and a multiple dad.
a multiple dad, a fun baby guy, a guy with fun babies.
I don't know if babies are fun. Maybe to like throw footballs with.
No, I don't know. They'd mow your lawn if you can raise them right.
I like them a little older, like anywhere between 5 and 9. Oh god, that sounds really awful.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I had to. Oh God, there's a joke. I gotta think about that for a little bit. Oh yeah, I started dating my high school sweetheart, and I'm gonna take her to the prom. No, it's a joke. I
Oh,
started dating I think that's how it said. Yeah, I started dating my high school sweetheart. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take her to the prom. Okay.
I didn't have a prom.
We had a fucking prom. I was in Lamar. I had a girlfriend. Took her to the damn prom. What a waste of time. Jesus.
I graduated a year early because I wanted to waste my time.
Prom was not that much fun. It really wasn't. But I was, you know.
Most of the people would come from the dances to my house just to drink underage and party.
You had those kind of parents. We used to
Yeah.
smoke weed at our house. My parents would let us smoke weed upstairs.
Well, my dad's all about safety, and he's like, well, he knew about the cops, and
Yeah.
he was like,
He
well,
knows what kids do.
Yeah, and he partakes, so it helps.
Yeah.
And my mom smoked cigarettes, so it was just a free for all.
Yeah. Everybody used to smoke cigarettes back then.
Do you smoke cigarettes?
I used to. I did for a long
I
time.
haven't had one since Sunday. I'm dying.
Well, you should really quit.
Yeah, I was getting a bronchial inflammation, so I kind of been backing down. That's why it's Tuesday.
All right, so it's Sunday. You've lasted almost 3 days without cigarettes. That's very good. But it hurts. I know, kid. I gave them up just 3 years ago, and I smoked for 30 years. And
I take moderate breaks.
just you know, just don't fucking. Yeah, I know it's hard when I was young. I smoked like an idiot. I smoked. I was raised my whole life. Don't smoke. I went. I am not going to smoke. And then when I was in college, I started smoking. Just because of one drag at a party, just had. Oh, I got the right buzz. You know, that great ferocious.
And is that how you would describe your PCP addiction as well?
Yes, and my crystal and the cocaine years, just that first. Hell, alcohol's that way too. It's just, yeah.
It's a beast.
But cigarettes,
Taste the beast.
cigarettes, you know, that Greg Allman autobiography, he said cigarettes, of all the shit he was hooked on and all the shit he had to get off of to try to live a life, he said cigarettes was the hardest. Just
Really?
the fucking hardest. You have to go every day and just grind it out and realize that really after 30 days you will feel better. But it takes about 100 days to get a grip on it. It just takes 100 days to master it. And you have to, every day gets, I'm closer, I'm one day closer. But I was at that point where I had to look at it that way. I could not fucking do it anymore, man.
Maybe it's every day of your life.
Hey, I don't even think about them anymore. I do not even want one. I like the smell. If someone's smoking one, it doesn't bother me, but I will never smoke another fucking cigarette, man. I guarantee you. If the world's coming to an end, maybe, you know, if North Korea launches shit, I might have a cigar or a cigarette, but I have not had nicotine in over 3 years, and man, it's real hard to do. And that's what got me into eating differently and go to the chiropractor and then started riding my bike and just, I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. You know,
I am certainly not.
well,
Is that a ghost?
nah, it's samples falling off the wall. But it, you know, when I was indestructible when I was 30, just, you know, I used to smoke and jog and drink and work like a fiend and just, wow. But man, anyway, that's my speech. What else do you want to know?
There's always a moment in the interview where the interviewer laughs in questions.
I mean, you're into the history of Dallas thing. I mean, you know, the clubs, those lots. Metamorphosis Record Store was back in the day. That was on Ruth Street. You're in Uptown, right near, was that Ruth Street? It was right near where Carlisle and McKinney kind of meet, or that V. Boy, it was right near there. And they would have bands. Eclectricity on Lower Greenville was a boutique. They would have pretty cool parties once in a while and have some bands.
Did you have to pay covers for all these things?
Some things, yeah, sure. If it was a regular little club, if it wasn't like a party, yeah, we paid cover.
Did you have any, did you chill at the, what was that famous Grace Jones place? Stark.
I went there a few times, yes.
Were you impressed?
I was at the mid-'80s, man. It was pretty spectacular looking place. I was not really into the scene. I mean, I did once have to pee with a lot of girls behind me waiting in line to get into a stall.
Why, because it's unisex?
It was kind of unisex, yeah. But
first come, first serve.
And it was urinals, and then there was some stalls that had doors, so the women were waiting for the doors, obviously. So we had to stand there while they were, but that didn't bother me. I was able to pee freely. I got no problem.
The world is your oyster.
I can pee wherever I want anytime. Mm-hmm. And it, you know, it was a neat layout. The dance floor was sunken way the fuck down there. There was couches everywhere. But it wasn't like, I was never there during a full-blown coke orgy, you know, or anything. I saw I saw village people there. It was pretty fucking crowded. And Lithium Christmas and an early 900-foot Jesus, real early. And, but yeah, the village people, yeah. They were silly, so silly.
I would have killed to be there.
It was funny. Nah, we had more gay friends and they all died of AIDS though.
So you would say the crowd there was pretty mixed as far as sexuality? I mean, just like
very much so. Probably even more gay than anything.
But it wasn't really known as a gay bar. It was kind of just a dance club.
It was an anything goes place. It was everybody's groovy place.
Was people like naked? Or you want to dress kind of?
It wasn't like the Mud Club. It wasn't. It wasn't. It's still Texas, and it's still Dallas, Texas.
Totally got shut the fuck down.
Yeah, there was a lot of drugs happening there, apparently. And they had, after a while the cops will bust your asses. And
that's what happened with Muddy Waters.
Yeah.
It's like they put up with it for a little bit and then pull the plug at random. Yeah,
they don't really, Yeah, and they're not going to do it randomly unless they have a case and they're having a real problem with your scene. Who knows if that would happen now, but I think now things are a lot tamer and everything's under control, man. The fire marshal, I mean, they're closing down when art galleries have little openings, which I get it, but it's an odd thing to focus on. I understand why they're doing it. And if I was a legit art gallery with a CO and all the crap I got to pay for, I might not appreciate little renegade art galleries. I don't know.
I think it's bullshit.
But see, back in the day, you could do all that shit, and now they're controlling everything because it's a way. There's like, here's a license that we didn't get money for, so let's close them down until they get the proper CO. However, it's not hard to get a CO. If you have a space, you go and there's a certificate of occupancy. They cost like a couple $100. You tell them what you want to do. They come and inspect your place, and if it's safe, they can do it. They're trying to prevent like a massive fire killing lots of people, like the thing in LA and shit like that. And that's what they say. But it's also, again, it's a revenue stream. So it's odd how they found out about those things and just shut them down. But if if you're a legit gallery and you're trying to make it in this town, you have to have that shit. I have one, for here, just because I'm a service and people come in, and if the fire marshal wants to see it, there you go.
So how long have you had your framing shop?
Well, I've had my own business since 1995. I was in the design district for quite a while, and I've been here for a little over 6 years, just because the recession was just blowing me out of there, and came down here to save money, and now I'm spending more on rent than I was. But
So it's going up.
well, I took over that space next door, and that kind of increased my rent. And I was blowing and going, and I had help. Now been working alone a while, and it's not. So I don't know. I need the space, but Jesus, it's expensive. I'm spending $2,000 a month for these two buildings together, which is in Oak Cliff. That's a pretty good deal. To be in North Oak Cliff and in Bishop Arts, which I'm not. But hell, a space like this in Bishop Arts would be $5,000 with this and that, easy, if not more. That's nuts. That's fucking crazy for retail. It's not in demand. What do people go buy anymore? Not much.
Well, I just worked at a salon where people would spend $700 just to get a dye job.
See, but they'll go for services. A salon will do well. A frame shop, the chiropractor, insurance company, services can make it. But if you're just selling high-end home furnishings and just, high-end knick-knack crap, if you're not on Henderson, on Knox or Henderson, down here for that, that's what everybody's trying to develop around here.
There's a lot of stuff going down on Riverfront.
And Riverfront, well, shit, Riverfront has always been sort of a design district-y area, and more, you have to know where you're going. But they're getting more residential density there. Mm-hmm. But there's
places to eat now.
There's places to eat. What do you like
that you
there?
can't afford.
Yeah, oh, you're right, like Oak and all that crap.
Or like this fancy hamburger place where you pay like $16 for some fucking patty that doesn't even have pepper on it.
Oh, no. I do want to, I heard Pizza Tap was a good.
Pie Tap?
Pie Tap, is that what it's called? Yeah.
I don't really, a lot of the bitches at the salon like to order it because it was nearby where we worked. I like Louis. It's my favorite.
I haven't been there in ages, man. They have good pizza too. I haven't been there in a minute. It's still there?
Mm-hmm. It's doing
On
well.
Henderson? Sure it is. It was always did well. It was always a zoo.
I mean, Louis died. But,
right.
But the pizza didn't. I like Oak Cliff pizza too. But maybe I was just
it's been a
sort
while.
of,
hungover. Tasted good at the time.
generally the case. Or high.
Oh yeah. You have weed, really?
Yeah.
I'm walking the front door.
Want to get it going?
I'm gonna walk the front door. Are you taping?